Do you want to learn the secrets of trading? The truth is, too many investors know the struggles of trading. Now let's find out what worked and what didn't with their personality, as these successful investors share their trading journey with us.
Hello and welcome to another episode of A Trader's Journey. I am your host, Ryan Faluna, and I am here with Airplane Jane today. So Jane, how you doing today?
Great. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for having me on.
It is my pleasure. No problem. I think we should just go ahead and get started right off the bat here. So the first thing that I want to ask is, tell me a little bit about how you got started in trading.
Well, you know what? My trading journey actually started roughly 20 years ago. I didn't even realize it, but I was a graduate out of college and I'd studied international business. And I was in Memphis. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. The town felt a little small to me. I call it a town, it's still a city. But I wanted to go ahead and move to a bigger city. So I moved to Atlanta, and who was hiring at the time but brokerage houses? This was roughly 2000. And so everything was going gangbusters with the dot-com era. And so the brokers were hiring like crazy. Well, I went ahead, got hired as a registered sales assistant, got my Series 7, and started being an assistant to 4 different brokers. It was great. Everything was beautiful. And then boom, dot-com bubble implodes. And I saw devastation within the office. We had the WorldCom options office in our branch. And unfortunately, people had gone ahead and taken money out on margin without exercising their options. So I very quickly learned what options were, how people shouldn't use margin, and they shouldn't take it out, because I saw people, they were losing their kids' college funds, everything like that. And it also made me realize, you know what, I don't think I really want to work with other people's money. So it was the first layoff of my life that took me away from the market. And then fast forward, I am now a new immigrant up in Canada. I'm married and 8 months pregnant, working in the aviation industry, and I get laid off again. So then my husband said, you know what? Why don't you look at trading as a potential source of income? You had an amazing trade, a longer term trade, 9 months, where I took 25,000 and turned it into 250,000. So I thought, you know what? That's great, but I don't want to be quite so passive. So I really started to start studying day trading at that point in time. And I stumbled across Timothy Sykes with his penny stocks. And so I started off really studying under his tools and his penny stock idea, but I quickly found that was not for me.
That's an incredible journey just in and of itself. Let me ask you, how do you find the time and energy between mom responsibilities and trading?
Well, you know what? During this COVID time, it definitely was more difficult because my kids were home all the time. I mean, there was no break. I'm so thankful that they just went back, or my oldest just went back this past week. Whew. As a mom with a newborn, I started off when my daughter was 6 months old. And in starting to learn how to trade, I thought that I knew everything that was going on, and I pulled out $6,000 of my larger account and I said, hey, I'm going to try with this. And I was dedicated to my daughter at that time because she was so young. And I quickly learned, you know what, paper trade until I have more time to go ahead and dedicate to the market and dedicate to the trades. Because as a mom, your natural instinct is for your child. So I ended up putting it on hold. Thankfully, since they've been home, they're older, my husband has been able to watch them. So I do have time to dedicate it to the market, but I'm usually done by 11 o'clock in the morning. So I have time to go ahead and do all the errands, all the mom stuff later in the day. And then afternoons, evenings really is the time that I spend with my kids, and the weekends as well. So I try to do all of my prep work roughly 8 a.m. until the market opens. I'm down at my desk, blinders on, don't bother me. I'm going to go ahead and do my trading plan for the day and then follow through, and usually done by 11 o'clock. I find that that's usually when the moves are done. The algorithms usually tend to take over, and I'm done for the day.
That's really impressive. That seems like two stressful careers that you've been able to manage in one day. That's really impressive. That actually kind of dovetails into my next question here, which is how does your health come into play with trading? And do you have any suggestions on how to better your overall wellness?
Well, definitely. I go ahead and I really try to take time to go ahead and get my exercise in pretty much every single day, whether it's going out and playing with my kids or going for a 2.5 mile run before I sit down at my desk. I try to go ahead and schedule it in every single day. In the training pit, which is also where I work to help educate people about the dark pools, one of the webinars that I do is all about actually like overall well-being and how you take care of your body and come to your desk is going to play a very important role in your trading day. If you have proper nutrition, if you have proper hydration. I actually just got another bottle of water before this so that I had water to be able to go ahead and hydrate my body. Our bodies are roughly 80% water, and you need to drink about half your body weight in ounces a day for everything to function properly, for your brain to function properly,
Hmm.
your heart, your lungs, everything. So I do see it as a very big part. Always try to have healthy snacks. Nuts are very good for people that are not allergic. Dark chocolate as well with the antioxidants, but also nuts have magnesium, which are great for people that might be experiencing stress. It's
Hmm.
a essential micronutrient that runs 300 different processes in the body. So I definitely look at the well-being of my body as part of trading, as well as getting rest. Rest is crucial too. If you don't have rest, say as a mom of a newborn, maybe just watch or you paper trade for that day.
That's really impressive. And I'm really impressed that you're able to run 2.5 miles before the market opens. I also do a run. I end up going 3.5 if I can, but I always do it after the market. Really impressive. You're able to do that in the morning along with your preparation. So how has your trading changed throughout the course of your career?
Well, as I mentioned, I did start with Timothy Sykes with his
Hmm.
penny stocks. And then I quickly found, you know what, to me, that's a little bit more risk than I was willing to take because you have to take larger positions in order to be able to capitalize on a 10 or 20 cent move. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and move forward, maybe look out and branch out into another room, see if there's something else that meshes with my personality a little bit better. And I stumbled upon Ross Cameron's room and then saw Mike, who trades large caps there. And that made me really curious. So I started paper trading large caps.
Hmm.
And then I started finding success with that. And I thought, well, this is great. You know, you don't have to have as much risk because you could still have the same $2,000 that you might want to put into a trade. But if it's $200 and it has a $10 range throughout the day, then you're going to be able to go ahead and profit and you can allow it to have more wiggle room as opposed to a $2 stock with a $2,000 position. You go down 10 cents, you're down 100 bucks.
Now,
So
do you just trade stock or do you also trade options?
both.
Okay,
I do trade
awesome.
both. And in transitioning over, then that was roughly okay. So the timing on that was roughly 9 months into my trading was when I found the large caps and I started paper trading, had success, and then I started position sizing up. Then later, about a year after my journey, I really thought, you know what? I'm a female in this, and I don't see a lot of other females out there. So I thought, you know what would I really want to read? Well, I wanted to read a book, much like Momo Traders or Market Wizards, but
Hmm.
more about female traders. And so I wrote my book. So FMJ, Trust, Transition, and Trade. What do you think FMJ stands for?
Full Metal Jacket?
Beat my job. So you
That's way
gotta
better.
yeah you got to trust yourself first, and then you have to transition into it, and then you can fully trade. So the book is all about female day traders from around the world with 5 months experience up to 26 years of experience. And that is how I actually came across Stephanie Kammerman, the stock whisperer,
Mhm.
and learning about the dark pools. And so that's where my trading changed a little bit more. So it was larger caps, and then I learned around the dark pools and how it's where the really big guys hide their trades. And then we say, hey, we saw 1.5 million of Apple traded. Well, do we go above the price? Okay, it looks like it was buying. So we go ahead and we follow them. Did it go below the price? Well, it did. Uh-oh, maybe they're going ahead and they're selling. They're taking their profit. Let's just ride it down with them until they stop and they start buying again. So learning how to trade around the dark pools really changed my trading.
That's incredible. So if you could go back in time, what advice would you give yourself on day one?
As much as you might really want to go ahead and jump in with real money, paper trade first and prove your consistency, find your strategy. Everybody is different with the time that they can commit to the market, the amount of capital that they can commit to the market, and their personal risk tolerance. Some people like to drive in the slow lane, some people like to bungee jump. What works for you? And try out different strategies to see which one you really have a lot of success with. There's a lot of different ways to make money in the market. You can be a scalper, you could be a longer term investor, you could trade options, you could trade futures. There's so many different ways to make money in the market, and there's billions of dollars. Be patient, study, and once you find your strategy, slowly position up and you'll win.
Just a really quick follow-up to that too. Did you notice any difference emotionally, or maybe even how you traded when you moved from paper trading to regular trading?
You know what? I positioned so small that it really was just a matter of the habits and instilling those habits. And then once the habits were there, then it was really easier. So I didn't have much of a difference myself trading paper to real money because the habits were there.
That's awesome. I actually tell people all of the time that if you're having trouble, you should size down. So that answer makes complete sense to me, because that's just exactly what I normally recommend when people are struggling. So are you still comfortable pushing the limits of your trading skills? Do you size up at all, or are you comfortable with the system that you found yourself in now?
Well, you know what? Recently, I reread Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, and adding to winning positions. It can sometimes be an uncomfortable feeling to have your entry be coming up while you're in profit, but it can actually increase your profits exponentially. So, really adding to winners, it was something that was a little bit more out of my comfort zone. And also learning and paper trading with futures. So expanding my knowledge of the market. I'm always looking to grow with the market, even studying some GAN now with timing of the market as well. So I'm always growing and also looking to add CMT on as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So the $64,000 question then is, what was your biggest or hardest lesson during the course of your career?
I think one of the most difficult ones was when I thought that I was fully going along with it and everything was going well, and I had a friend come over and I was trying to teach them to trade, and it ended up being a massive loss because I wasn't monitoring the trade, I was monitoring my teaching. And so it ended up that I ended up being a bag holder in a losing trade and lost about $7,000. And it quickly taught me, like, you need to focus on the market, because I'd been trading, by myself. I was trading in front of my desk, and then I throw in somebody else asking questions over here. And of course, I'm turning to answer the questions because I don't want to be rude. But I figured out, you know what? If I'm teaching for myself, it's better for me not to be in a trade or in a longer term trade or protect myself with a stop, rather than going ahead and jumping in and then saying, no, it's going to come back. And a week later, it didn't. And it was a $7,000 loss.
That's incredible. Well, I really appreciate it. You sound like you have a very unique trader's journey, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us today. So thank you everyone for joining us for a trader's journey. She is Airplane Jane. Check out her book, FMJ. Is it hashtag FMJ? Is that
hashtag FMJ? Yes, it is.
Hashtag FMJ. So Jane, is there any way our viewers can reach you?
You know what, Ryan? I'm always open to people emailing me. So if you guys ever have any questions or you want to reach out, please feel free to email me at jane@cjanetrade.com.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us. I hope that you will join us next time for A Trader's Journey.
Thank you.